first of all, when you are giving your speech, you need to make sure that you have your supplies. You have your PowerPoint, and then you're also going to speak from note cards. That's what will have your notes on it. The purpose of the PowerPoint is not to read off of it. So the PowerPoint will just add extra to it. It will not be what you're reading from. And today we'll talk a little bit about the way you need to organize it. We'll talk about intros, conclusions, and what your PowerPoint should look like. So you should have props or like supplies, and you should also have your PowerPoint ready to go for your speech.
So when is this due?
On Thursday of next week.
Oh, next week.
April 19th, right?
April 19th. Okay. All right, so here we go.
It's recording, but it's not following.
Okay. So when I was in middle school, the favorite thing for people to do before school started was to go to Walgreens. It was called something else then, and buy these folders like this. These were called peachy folders, and they were like $0.25 a piece. They were made out of kind of like what paper bags are made of. And they were super cheap. Anyway, we would buy one for every single one of our classes. Then we would get together and we would decorate these folders. And when we were done decorating them, they were covered with images, words, and also covered in tape. So that's probably the only thing that held the folders together. So they may have ended up looking something like this. This is an image that I found of a decorated. So there's a combination of different decorations, and then by the end of the semester, of course, it had all your writing and things like that on your folder. So today I am going to talk to you about how to make a collage. I am going to talk to you about what the purpose of making a collage might be, what supplies you will need, and then again the process of making a collage. When you are going to make a collage, first of all, you need to determine what your purpose is. Why are you doing this? It could just be that you want something to do, or it's an outlet to be creative. When I make them today, they're usually for something in regards to school. And so I always have that purpose determined before I sit down. Some general supplies that you're going to need is, first you need to have paper in which to put the collage on. You need magazines. That's why this is kind of a growing something that doesn't exist anymore, because people don't usually have the paper copy of magazines. You can get images off the computer, tape or glue, and then you will need scissors. So the very first thing in creating a collage is to determine what your theme is going to be. Why are you creating the collage? And for Romeo and Juliet, in a lesson plan that I read, they had a bulletin board that had a variety of images on it, and then they had you create a collage. And so this right here is an example of one of the collages that I just did for my bulletin board, and it's all images that relate back to Romeo and Juliet. And then so students can look at it, and they can be like, oh, wedding bells, how does that relate back to Romeo and Juliet? Then I did this one earlier, and Miss Berg stole it, so she has it in her classroom. When I stopped teaching last year, she got all my stuff. Some of it she has returned, some of it she has not. So this is the one that I did previously. So again, the theme is still Romeo and Juliet, and you can look at there, you can see the image, and then you can say, okay, well that relates to this part in Romeo and Juliet. The second thing that you need is you need to find paper. And you have to determine your paper size before you start creating your collage, otherwise you don't know how many images to select. So if I were going to just do a collage on this piece of paper, then I wouldn't need as many, or the images could not be as large as, let's say, on this piece of paper, okay? And then you just start collecting images. I went to the library in Ames, and they have a whole rack of magazines that you can just take for free, and that is where I got all of the images for this second collage right here. The best magazines are usually like the Glamour magazines or the Good Housekeeping. If you have a variety of magazines, then you're going to get a variety of different types of images. So that's what you, and then I just cut them all out. And I usually don't cut them out very carefully. I just collect all of them in one sitting, so then I can move on to the next step. And then after that, then I organize the images on paper. And so that's when I cut them out neatly and figure out where they're going to lay, and if they're going to go in, like if this part right here is going to be about something, or this part over here is going to be about something. And then you can also, when you are organizing it on the paper, are your images going to overlap on top of each other? You're going to separate them out. And then the very last part is to adhere them to the paper. Because I like to scrapbook, I have this thing called a sticker maker. And when I sent some of these really thin pieces of magazine paper through the sticker maker, it did not like it. It was too thin. So that didn't really work the greatest. But I used some other glue, so whatever kind of adhesive you want. And then this one is laminated so that the pages are not going to fall off. So today I have talked to you about how and why you might want to make a collage. Today I make collages for different reasons, mainly for school activities. I have moved way beyond decorating my folders. However, I think that this type of art or this way to express yourself is going out of style. Like, people don't have magazines anymore. And when I write the word collage, they think that I have misspelled college. So I'm pretty sure that it is not something that a lot of people do anymore. All right. Any questions?
Yours was obviously good.
Well, thank you.
Can I copy yours?
You have lots of experience.
Can you copy it? Yes, I would like you to give me a speech on how to make a collage. No,
Let's see if you can remember what she said.
Okay. All right, Malum, are you ready? Do we have enough time?
Probably not. Just
Okay.
3 minutes is left before, which might be just. Were there any things that if you were that you would be critiquing other students on as far as your presentation? I guess what I'm getting at is, did you do an A+ job?
I think so, because she didn't look at the board and stuff, and obviously you need to know what you're gonna present about, so like
Know your topic.
you can look at the board just to like remember the key points you need to talk about, but you don't like need to be looking at the board the whole time, and she didn't do that. And then
Yes.
she showed us examples of
So
what it was.
That's a good point, Sydney. You guys can help yourselves out by picking a topic that you sincerely have a lot of experience with. Because with that will come confidence, and then you don't have to search the information up. It's just already there.
Right. Also, you need to think about your audience and think about the things that will be interesting for them. When I was in high school, it was required to take speech as 9th graders. And I remember we were doing an informative speech, and I decided I was going to give my informative speech on clowns. Now, the reason why is because my mom had this clown collection, and she loved them. She thought that it was the best thing ever, and so that's what I thought. But when I got in there, I remembered this, like, boy who I thought was, like, so cool sitting at the back, and he was like, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life." And I was, like, crushed, because I thought that what I had done was amazing, and he's like,
She probably had a crush on him.
he's like, "You're stupid." So then I thought a little bit more about my topic, like, is this suitable for my audience? Is this something that they're actually going to be interested in? Okay. So, on your note cards, you can have as many note cards as you need, but you also don't want to write too much on your note cards. You want to make sure that you number them so that you can keep them in order. This is the outline format that is on the handout that you got. I'm going to start with my introduction to get your attention. I told you my purpose, and then I gave you my thesis. then these are the things that I talked about. What is the purpose, materials, and then steps. I only wrote out the steps because the other things, I already knew I had them sitting here in front of me. And then in the conclusion, I have, again, my thesis is restated, and then I referred back to my introduction. Now, every time I have a little red star right there, that indicates when sit down and let me finish my sentence. That indicates when I need to move the slide on my PowerPoint. Okay?